Hello students, today we are going to start a new chapter from unit number 3 and that is cell cycle and cell division, in which we will today just discuss about the introduction. Before we start the chapter, let me go through this analysis that is from last 10 years analysis from 2009 to 2019, and these are the list of topics: cell cycle, mitosis and meiosis. So from cell cycle you can see total number of MCQ were asked is 32. Second topic, that is mitosis, that is very short topic from which one MCQ were asked. Then third topic is a mitosis, from which 27 number of questions were asked in last 10 years. Then from the meiosis topic, 43 number of questions were asked from last 10 years. Okay, so you can understand which topic is most important. And if before we start this chapter, we have to know about each and everything about the cell function and the structure. So let me quickly revise the chapter number 8 by using this animation video. So look at this video.
Cells are the smallest living units of an organism. All cells have three things in common, no matter what type of cell they are. All cells have a cell membrane, which separates the inside of the cell from its environment, cytoplasm, which is a jelly-like fluid, and DNA, which is the cell's genetic material. There are two broad categories of cells. The first category is eukaryotic cells. They have organelles, which include the nucleus and other special parts. Eukaryotic cells are more advanced, complex cells, such as those found in plants and animals. The second category is prokaryotic cells. They don't have a nucleus or membrane-enclosed organelles. They do have genetic material, but it's not contained within a nucleus. Prokaryotic cells are always one-celled or unicellular organisms, such as bacteria. So, what are organelles? Organelle means little organ. Organelles are the specialized parts of a cell that have unique jobs to perform. Let's start with the nucleus, the control center of the cell. The nucleus contains DNA, or genetic material. DNA dictates what the cell is going to do and how it's going to do it. Chromatin is the tangled, spread-out form of DNA found inside the nuclear membrane. When a cell is ready to divide, DNA condenses into structures known as chromosomes. The nucleus also contains a nucleolus, which is a structure where ribosomes are made. After ribosomes leave the nucleus, they will have the important job of synthesizing or making proteins. Outside the nucleus, the ribosomes and the rest of the organelles float around in cytoplasm, which is the jelly-like substance. Ribosomes may wander freely within the cytoplasm or attach to the endoplasmic reticulum, sometimes abbreviated as ER. There are two types of ER. Rough ER has ribosomes attached to it, and smooth ER doesn't have ribosomes attached to it. The endoplasmic reticulum is a membrane-enclosed passageway for transporting materials, such as the proteins synthesized by ribosomes. Proteins and other materials emerge from the endoplasmic reticulum in small vesicles, where the Golgi apparatus, sometimes called the Golgi body, receives them. As proteins move through the Golgi body, they're customized into forms that the cell can use. The Golgi body does this by folding the proteins into usable shapes, or adding other materials onto them, such as lipids or carbohydrates. Vacuoles are sac-like structures that store different materials. Here, in this plant cell, the central vacuole stores water. Going back to the animal cell, you will see an organelle called a lysosome. Lysosomes are the garbage collectors that take in damaged or worn-out cell parts. They are filled with enzymes that break down this cellular debris. The mitochondrion is an organelle that is the powerhouse for both animal and plant cells. During a process called cellular respiration, the mitochondria make ATP molecules that provide the energy for all of the cell's activities. Cells that need more energy have more mitochondria. Meanwhile, the cell maintains its shape through a cytoskeleton. The cytoskeleton includes the thread-like microfilaments, which are made of protein, and microtubules, which are thin, hollow tubes. Some organisms, such as plants, that are photoautotrophic, meaning they capture sunlight for energy, have cells with an organelle called a chloroplast. The chloroplast is where photosynthesis happens. It's green because it has a green pigment called chlorophyll. Plant cells also have a cell wall outside of their cell membranes that shape, support, and protect the plant cell. Animal cells never have a cell wall. There are many other unique structures that only some cells have. Here are just a few. In humans, for example, the respiratory tract is lined with cells that have cilia. These are microscopic hair-like projections that can move in waves. This feature helps trap inhaled particles in the air and expels them when you cough. Another unique feature in some cells is flagella. Some bacteria have flagella. A flagellum is like a little tail that can help a cell move or propel itself. The only human cell that has a flagellum is a sperm cell. In summary, remember, eukaryotic cells are plant and animal cells with a nucleus and membrane-enclosed organelles, while prokaryotic cells are unicellular organisms without these things. All cells have a cell membrane, cytoplasm, and genetic material. And even though only plant cells have chloroplasts, both plant and animal cells have mitochondria.
Now students, let me enjoy one song, and that is Cell Song. So enjoy.
Here's what a cell contains. Outer layer is the cell membrane. It controls what goes in and out. The cell gets energy from the source of mitochondria, also known as the powerhouse. In the ribosomes of the cell with protein synthesis, endoplasmic reticulum will carry substances, breaking down materials, lysosomes. The nucleus controls the cell, kinda like a brain, contains the DNA when cells divide to replicate. Outside the nuclear membrane full of pores. The nucleus makes ribosomes some units from proteins, secreting hormones are the Golgi bodies. Each unit of a cell is an organelle. The membrane keeps substances out inside, cell filled with cytoplasm. Lysosomes help break things down, energy from mitochondria. Protein factories, ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum. Transfer substances like proteins, nucleus controls this. Cell membrane, mitochondria, lysosomes, ribosomes, cytoplasm, nucleus, ER and Golgi body, in the nucleolus. Cell membrane, mitochondria, lysosomes, ribosomes, cytoplasm, nucleus, ER and Golgi body, in the nucleolus. If you look at a plant cell, they have a few different organelles, chloroplasts, vacuoles, and a cell wall. Chloroplasts take the sun in, convert to food through photosynthesis, large vacuoles to food, water, and waste. Cell wall is the outer, rigid cellulose as the protector. It provides structure to the cell. Cell membrane, mitochondrion, lysosomes, ribosomes, cytoplasm, nucleus, ER and Golgi body, and the nucleolus. Cell membrane, mitochondria, lysosomes, ribosomes, cytoplasm, nucleus, ER and Golgi body, and the nucleolus.
Now I am going to start a chapter, but before that I will show you one introductory lesson in form of animation video. So look at this video.
Here we have the representations of the life cycle of two organisms. One picture depicts the life cycle of a butterfly, while the other shows the development stages of a human. Have you ever wondered how does this little caterpillar turn into a butterfly? Or even, how does such a small baby turn into an adult? Butterflies go through some spectacular life cycle transformations, that is, from a lowly worm into a glorious creature that floats on the breeze. On similar lines, humans also follow a developmental pattern. They go through a series of developmental stages from the time of birth to the time they mature into an adult. And these transformations are mainly possible all thanks to the process of cell cycle and cell division. We all know that each multicellular organism begins life in the form of a single cell. So how does a single cell get transformed into a large organism? To comprehend this, let's understand the concept of a cell cycle and cell division. Let's begin with their definitions. Cell cycle is a series of well-orchestrated steps including cell growth, duplication of genetic material, and cell division usually resulting in two identical cells. In other words, a cell passes through various steps in order to grow, copy its DNA, and finally split into either 2 or 4 new cells. This is cell cycle. And what exactly is cell division? As the name suggests, cell division is the process in which a single parent cell divides into either 2 identical cells or 4 cells, each with half the number of chromosomes. So can we say that the process of cell division is a part of the cell cycle? That's right. That's how it is. Now tell me one thing. Do all the cells divide in the same way? Just think about it. The answer is a definite no, right? Every cell in our body has a different tendency to grow and divide. To be precise, some cells divide throughout their lifetime, while others do not divide once formed. For example, our skin cells have a high turnover rate due to constant wear and tear and divide very frequently. On the other hand, our nerve cells do not divide once formed. Now getting back to the cell cycle, as the name suggests, the process occurs in phases or stages, the series of steps that repeat in cyclic manner. But for our convenience, we majorly divide a cell cycle into 2 phases. The first phase is called the interphase, and the next is the M phase, which represents either mitotic or meiotic phase. Let's have a quick look at these phases. The interphase prepares the cell for cell division, hence it's also called the preparatory phase. In this phase, the cell grows and makes a copy of its genetic material, the DNA to be precise. On the other hand, the M phase is the dividing phase of the cell cycle. It carries out the task of actual cell division. After going through a series of steps, the cell first divides the nucleus into 2 sets, followed by the division of the cytoplasm. This gives rise to 2 identical daughter cells. And this process of cell division is called mitosis. Similarly, instead of once, a parent cell divides twice to give 4 daughter cells, each with half the amount of genetic material compared to the parent cells. This type of division is called meiosis, the one useful in the production of gametes. Now tell me one thing, will both the phases, the interphase and the M phase, have the same time duration? Or will one phase last longer than the other? If yes, then which phase will need more time? Just think about it. Imagine we were to prepare a meal. The actual time required to cook the food is usually less compared to the time we take for preparations. That is, right from getting things from the store to keeping things ready for cooking, we consume a lot of time pre-cooking. The cell isn't an exception. For the most crucial and challenging tasks, like division of nucleus followed by cytoplasm, the cell takes a lot of time to prepare for these steps rather than the actual divisions. The interphase lasts much longer compared to the M phase. You will be astonished to know that the interphase occupies more than 90% of the total time required for one cycle. And only the remaining less than 10% of the time is needed for the M phase to get the new cells formed. So all the important functions like growth, duplication of genetic material, synthesis of newer compounds and organelles, all of these are carried out in the interphase. It is believed that the cells take up approximately 24 hours to complete one cycle. However, this duration can vary from organism to organism and from one cell type to the other. Later, at the end of the cycle, the new cells produced can start the exact same process all over again. That's the reason why it's called a cycle, as it does not follow a linear pathway. Well, this was just an overview of the two major phases of a cell cycle.
So students, today was just an introductory lecture, and from tomorrow we will start the topic from this chapter, and that is cell cycle. So till that, goodbye.